Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is Marissa Indigo with Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School. First video transmission of the new year, the new ever present now. Actually, just a new year in the Gregorian calendar, but the energetics of newness are still palpable and definitely something to work with. I think it's really funny, depending on what frame of mind people are in, they're arguing, oh, it's not really the new year. And it's true that it's the Gregorian calendar new year, which is an artificial time calendar. However, because there are millions of people around the world who do not know that and are still a part of that system, that air of newness and that ripe potential for transformation is certainly palpable. And we have the seasonal new year in March and the galactic new year with the cosmic Maya in July, end of July. So we have many new years and they're all great and they're all super useful for the journey. So today I wanted to share as briefly as I possibly can, because this is such a multidimensional level of sight that I'm trying to share from, what I'm receiving thus far, which are the codes for the new year, for the year 2022 here. And the main theme is the Heartgate, the year of the Heartgate, and starting to understand that there are many layers of heart, there are many kinds of heart space, and starting to see how humanity as a whole is piece by piece in the individual journey, coming back home inside, online, to their divinity through their sacred heart center. So for those who are new to the awakening process, we're going to start seeing people, maybe even some that we know, maybe some we're supporting in our work and in our beingness here, out in the community, with our own family and friend circles, professionally, etc. Those who are just coming into the realization, they're not comfortable yet, but the realization that they've got to connect with their heart, that they're feeling a lot of things. Maybe they don't feel safe or comfortable in feeling those things, but the inkling, the call is there to begin the process of going within. And that is the very first step of coming home to the divine blueprint of the sacred humanity. So we're going to be seeing that more and more with those who are different waves of awakening. We're going to be seeing those of us who have been on the heart path a little bit longer. Maybe we're just now starting to get comfortable with the process and understanding that this is the way. Maybe we've started to accept that. We're getting a little bit more ease with it, realizing that that is the way, and going to be deepening our spiritual practices, our self-care practices, in order to maintain that level of connection. And then there are those who are a little bit more, for lack of better term, advanced. It doesn't really mean advanced. Everyone's advanced. It's just about time, how much time you've put in, how much consistency you've had with your practice, how many fire walks you've been through. One of the major initiations that I'm seeing for this year of 2022 is the fire walk, the holy fire, the sacred heart flame. And so this is going to be impacting different populations of the collectives, respective to their own path and their own encodement and their own process, their own timeline. For those that have been doing the journey a little bit longer, we're going to be asked to go even more deeply into our personal ministry of the internal, sacred, inner crystalline Christos, Sophia Christ, crystalline DNA activation, where we are asked time and again, initiated, invited, sometimes feeling like we're dragged around a little bit, to the human ego anyway, to continue to show up as a Christed being of compassion and infinite love and unconditional love, showing those archetypal forces of the healing power of love in regards to our fellow humans as we are all awakening on this journey. So to try to summarize the energetics of the year, just as a baseline phrase or a tagline, 2022, the year of the heart. And as I have said, there are so many layers to this, but just to start to kind of ping that for you with your own encodements and maybe little inner inklings of things that it's time, just having some trust and faith in yourself and in the process and in the journey. I also have a few other things I wanted to be sure to share. I'm going to do this code share in a much more detailed format in writing, and we'll share that as a podcast. That will be one of the articles on my blog. If you're not yet subscribed to my blog, please do, if you feel so inclined and you like my work. Visit my website, divinednablueprint.com, and visit the Light Intel article section. You can subscribe to the blog there to get the newest posts straight to your email. as opposed to when I have the energy to put them up on YouTube. Also, in the instance of some kind of a technological breakdown with YouTube, you can always find me, stay connected through the newsletter on my website. So that's divinednablueprint.com. So just an invitation there to maintain a more pure and direct connection, because who knows what's going to happen this year with certain systems as they are crumbling. I feel it is very important, as this has been reflected to me with different clients and friends and contacts in the community, that it is very important that at this phase of the game, we take our power back and we take the true pristine geometries of all of our sacred symbolism back, no longer agreeing or complying in any regard within our cellular structure, within our hearts, within our minds, to the corruption or fragmentation or any kind of distortion in regards to sacred symbols and symbolism in general. We know that a lot of the sacred technologies were hijacked, if you will, by, I'll call them just, imposter forces or the dark angelic legions. And their power is just dwindling, you guys. Really, 5D New Earth is the focus, at least for me in my work. I'm being called more and more to pull from that space of New Earth, to pull that through the body. And on that note of symbolism, let's talk about the six, how the sacred six in numerology has been corrupted through manipulation and dogma and all of the different fragmented practices and the censoring that happened thanks to one of them, the Council of Nicaea, when they decided to completely censor a majority of the Holy Gnostic texts from what we now have as the King James Version of the Bible. The six has been demonized, 666, mark of the beast, all this stuff. Well, let's just clear that up right now. This has been coming up in client sessions and people having questions like, oh my gosh, in the church where I grew up, they talked about the six being evil and all of these things, and we're in a 6th year, what are your feelings about that? So I feel it's very important to share a few things numerologically. This is going into kind of a spiritual archaeology and anthropology for us as a beautiful galactic Terran, meaning on Gaia, Earth species here of divine humanity, of divine galactic humanity. So first of all, 5, the number 5, okay? 5 fingers, 5 senses, all of these different aspects of the 5. The human being itself is a 5-pointed star. If you look at the Vitruvian man with arms out and feet spread apart and head, we are a 5-pointed star. So the pentagram and the 5 have been hijacked as well. And what the 5 is all about is crystalline hue, man made manifest. The spirit, the divinity of the soul, the Holy Spirit in the physical form, crystallized into the physical human form. This is the divine humanity. So that is the very first blueprint, is the 5, is that of manifestation, the hand, mono, hue, man, made into form from the creator gods. I think a lot about those images of a lot of the different creation myths from different Native American cultures and many ancient cultures around the world, where the original humans were thought to have been formed out of clay, mud and water, and then God blew life into them, and then they were animate. That's where we have anima, the soul, coming from. So that's number 5, okay? So 6 is actually the crystalline human. This is where we advance in our evolution of consciousness, the ascension process at a physical level, where our DNA is now remembering, relinking, rebundling the divine DNA templates of the Christos, of the crystalline. That is the 6. The 6 is the evolution of humanity. So you can start to understand why any force that would look to control and direct the best interests of a populace would tell them that their superpower is evil. So then we would never even want to explore it. If anything, we would run away from it. So this is all part of the disclosure that will continue to unfold throughout time. So I just had to throw that in there really quickly about the numerology. This is a crystalline year. And on that note of this year being the year of the heart, the year of the heart gates, and whatever those activations mean for the individual on the journey, the invitation stands. The energy is presenting as crystalline everything. And an example I can give of this from my own experience, you've got to crack up how the universe, how higher self coordinates these events and experiences for us to facilitate our physical activation and embodiment of these codes, because the consciousness is too stubborn, perhaps, too sectioned, to receive certain things in certain ways. So the best way is for us to have a mirror experience, another sacred mirror portal experience in our physical experience, for us to then have the expansion of heart and consciousness to link heart, body, mind, soul embodiment, new earth embodiment of the codes. The example of this being that we relocated up into the Pacific Northwest. Now, I am a tropical girl. I'm from the big island of Hawaii and grew up there until almost 12. And then from there, grew up in Southern California. My lineage is majority Mediterranean. I've got Sicilian and French and more. So, I'm definitely a warm weather kind of sunbathing type DNA. So we have come to the Pacific Northwest and experienced the most incredible, magical, just surprises. Being a little kid growing up in the tropics, never having a white Christmas. So this year it actually started to snow on Christmas Eve, and it was so beautiful and so moving, and been quite an experience to share with my family and with my daughter, because it's definitely a new experience for our genetics and our DNA. And we're surrounded by snow, and actually snowed in for, let's see, Today was the first day. This is now January 3rd that I'm sharing this, and we have been snowed in and only able to walk to places, which is super fun, since Christmas Eve. Now, why I share this is because this was my total physical, just a beautiful experience, like full body sensations of activation, of realization, of remembering, and allowing my consciousness to accept that this year now, the energetics coming in, and they've been coming in for a while and they keep intensifying. But I'm sharing this to try to give you an example of how, the human consciousness hangs on to certain things, and it can be more difficult for higher level concepts to filter through. So for me, I had to have the physical, literal experience in order for it to activate within my DNA, is this concept of crystalline everything. And this goes back to the Christos, that beautiful crystalline divine light, the infinite Christ shining through. And this was my experience in the physical snow, with snow crystals all around, and a lot of beautiful experiences. I've shared the lovely icicle photo that I took, where I received so many light codes here in the community tab. So just want to share, that's what I'm receiving thus far. There's a lot more to go into with that, but these are just wonderful topics just to start to meditate on and think about, and ask to be shown. Ask New Earth, Crystalline Gaia, to show herself to you wherever you live in the world, and you will be shown. And it also can come through water. The weather in general right now is pretty interesting. So I wanted to share those codes and the numerology, at the very least, to be sure to give you guys a little something of what's coming through. Again, I will write these in more depth. They'll come through all day. I've had frequencies coming in. So when I'm talking, it's like I'm hearing myself in multiple frequencies in my own head. And it's kind of hard to talk. Yeah, so with that, the divine human, a lot of galactic energies coming in this year. What I received at the end of last year was, get ready, you're going to start to receive a lot more galactic intel. And really, if we could focus on one thing, it would be coming into the heart space and aligning with the deepest levels of inner peace and love and joy and compassion for self and others right now, because there's going to be a lot to continue to shake those who are deep in attachment or deep under the spells of the slumber of the amnesia of incarnation. So another thing I want to share is that the astrology for this year, there's going to be a lot more on this. This is huge, but the astrology of this year with the major personal planets is going to continue on the same energetic in a way that we have been experiencing in 2021 and 2020. So those of us who work in the higher realms are feeling and seeing and being invited and receiving the intel, the collaboration, the innovation. These things are happening. People are coming together. A lot of communities are coming together. And for various collectives, there's still a lot of invitation for a personal revolution, a spiritual revolution. So just know that those energetics are at play in the mainstream and in the 3D, as people are consistently given opportunities to release or to secede, if you will, on a divine level from programming and coming into the higher realms through their own experience, through their own tangible connection. So with that, I just wish you guys the most beautiful experience for 2022. I know it's just going to be an incredible ride, and here we are. My work is being called to focus specifically revisiting these different systems I studied in the very beginning of my journey. So this would be yoga. This is where the light body prana yoga that I'm offering is coming in very strongly now, and really focusing on the light body, which is really the nervous system. So focusing on the heart space, coming back, feeling when we've shut her down, shut him down, shut ourselves down, meaning our inner child, when I say he or she or we, really seeing the differences in our thoughts and our emotional qualities and frequencies when the heart is closed. That's going to let us know when we've unconsciously slipped back, we forgot, and maybe went back into ego, into trauma patterning. That's okay. That's part of the journey. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's the consistent expansion and contraction process until, we are more and more and more expanded, and it gets easier to live in the higher realms through the heart space, anchoring new earth through us, through our bodies here onto the planet. So my work this year really right now is I'm being shown the focus is going to be supporting the nervous system for everyone, continuing to provide intel and incredible Vedic sciences, Lemurian light body technology as it has come through me with nature and Gaia, and really about returning to nature, self-soothing, really coming into this kind of sacred mammalian aspect of our divine humanity at this time, to really start to come into our sacred humanity and start to feel, well, what is that? And this is the galactic, divine, angelic DNA of the human, of the golden race. So it's a very exciting time. I'm being guided to share quite a few Incubator Series. One of them is going to be Light Body Prana Yoga Series 3. This is a restorative practice, which is incredible for resetting, rebooting, and reprogramming the nervous system. And we work with the light codes and the astrology, all the evolutionary astrology that is present in the sky while we're in class together. So I will have more details on that. That's coming mid-month. In February, in honor of the 222 codes, I'm going to be bringing forth a Ascension Systems container, another incubation container, which is really looking at our Jedi avatar, human, kind of galactic hybrid situation, and how do we bring all of those aspects of ourselves together in unity in the physical. And this is using Vedic science for the ascension, physical ascension process to prepare us for these higher energies. So both of these combined, I think, are going to be beautiful services to support everyone physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that we can truly become a unified being within. More information will come on those as I get closer to launch. So I just thank you so much, all of you that are new. Thank you so much for joining, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community. This is a New Earth community here. We're here to support one another and lift one another up and encourage one another and to be generous with one another. This is the energetic, the abundance of New Earth, of Gaia. And I thank you all. I thank you who have been here with me from day one on this amazing journey. And I'm very excited to see where we go. So again, just want to revisit, it's all about the heart. I'm going to be sharing a lot of practices, meditations, activations, all kinds of things for us to continue to work on and to live in safely, comfortably, with much joy, accessing our gifts and our dormant abilities that are just waiting. The heart gates are the access to all we have ever dreamed and beyond. So it is no small task. However, it is the task. It is the straight and narrow. So focusing on the heart, remembering that beautiful crystalline everything this year. Being in New Earth means all new. We are here advocating all new systems, new resources and innovations, free technology, free resources. I mean, all kinds of things here. There's so much that's going to be happening, and just wanted to make sure that it is obvious that the lower dimensional time bands like 3D, 3D, 4D kind of gap, they're going to continue on their trajectory of revolution of consciousness. We're in a 3-year period from 2020, 2021, and now 2022. This is the peak. So it's going to be very important for us to maintain our nervous systems and be there to hold the peace and hold the light and the love and the compassion in our communities as those who are new to the awakening process, with the dismantling, with the disclosure, with the cognitive dissonance all starting to crumble, the spells crumbling. Mental health and mental health awareness is going to be very important as a focus, and coming at it from that higher dimensional love and compassion and understanding is going to support the mass integration of these higher light and love codes for humanity. Through love, all things are possible, and miraculously so. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here and for tuning in, and I will see you soon for a beautiful heart activation that we're going to be doing. So thank you, and sending you so much love and appreciation, and keep going and keep shining. And I will see you soon. Aloha.